Hello, Pod Smashers of the Internet, and welcome to another episode of Termite's Buzz, a weekly video game podcast running you through your host. That's me, Termite's Trophies, games I'm currently playing, video game industry news, and usually wrapping up with a retro discussion. But right off the bat, it's been 2 weeks since I've recorded one of these because of vacations and a men's retreat. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed last week's interview with Computer Booter. I know I did. It was great. But as a stand-in, that has put me 2 weeks behind in following the industry news. So I have 2 weeks worth of news to catch up on. Stuff that's going nuts. The game industry's going crazy. There's so much going on leading up to Gamescom, which is going to be live tomorrow. So I'm going to punt the retro discussion of the show, and it's just going to be the things that I'm playing and catching up on, as well as the news. I'm sorry to disappoint retro fans out there as I have been going through the game of the year. So I don't have that, but I will say I'm coming off of a men's retreat weekend where I went with the neighborhood guys for 4 days, Thursday through Sunday. My kids were at my parents', so my wife got some very quiet, introverted time at home to catch up on things around the house, and I was gone. Had a wonderful outing weekend. It was awesome. We got this big fancy house, had a pool table, foosball table. We had board games. We went hiking, went to a brewery, sat around a fire pit a couple of times. So lots of fun, lots of awesomeness going on over there. But that stopped me from recording. So that's why this episode is coming out late on Monday. Generally, I try to get them out at midnight, but here it is Monday afternoon on the Eastern Seaboard time zone. I don't know what I was trying to say. Eastern time zone is what I just wanted to say that. I just wanted to say Eastern time zone. East Coast time zone, what have you. So fall is kind of here. In Virginia, we're always going to have false fall, and it hasn't really officially happened yet, but the low temperatures in the evenings have actually dipped down into the 50s on the other side of the mountain, I live in Crozet, which is right outside of Charlottesville. The other side of the mountain is the Shenandoah Valley between the Blue Ridge and the Appalachian Mountains. In between the mountains, it got down to 55 degrees. One of those cold mornings, I sat outside and had coffee, and I was immediately transported into fall video games. So I didn't bring my PlayStation with me to the beach for our beach vacation, and I didn't bring my PlayStation to the men's retreat either because there's not a lot of gaming time going on. I did bring my Switch. I'll get to that in a minute. But for some reason, whenever the temperature turns and it gets cold, all those memories of playing Halo and Forza and Borderlands, Spider-Man on PS4. Every year there's new memories of fall games coming out. And I love and this is another, this is related to trophy discussions. Another reason I love trophies so much is I have a permanent log, a permanent journal of everything I've played on PlayStation. And since that's my primary platform, I can pretty much say that's when I was playing, I played that then, and so I can go back to last fall, which I'm doing right now, and I can see what games I was playing. And in late August, I was playing Persona 4 Dancing All Night, because I remember I'd gone and played Persona 4 on my trip to Hawaii all last summer. But at the very, very end of August, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Cowabunga collection had come out, so I was playing that a year ago. The Last of Us Part 1 remaster was out in the beginning of September, and so I picked that up and played it. The Pathless was on my list of things. So, I go back. Yeah, The Last of Us Part 1 is definitely a new fall memory. That remake is amazing. If you have a PS5, I highly recommend it. And then Resident Evil 3? Yep, Resident Evil 3 for most of October. So The Pathless and Resident Evil 3 were my titles from just last year. New fall memories. So I'm ready. I installed Resident Evil 4 Remake. Thanks, and shout out to T-Bone for getting that for me for my birthday because of the 50s degree weather that I experienced one time in a sea of... It's 90 right now. That's Virginia, right? It's ridiculous. The temperature can go down to low 70s, and then the highs are in the 90s. And then sometimes it can go down into the 40s, and the high will be 85. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. It's always been that way. It drives me nuts. As a runner, I have to plan my runs around the heat and the cool and all the things in life. So it's just a lot. But it does make me have those fall feelings. So I'm ready to go with Resident Evil 4. It's installed. But what have I been playing? I told you I brought my Switch on all these trips. I have sunk all of my time into Pikmin 4. I've rolled the credits in Pikmin 4, so that's done. But there are, and it's not really a spoiler, but there's 2 more levels after the credits. So I'm working my way through that content, kind of slower. I'm not as motivated to keep going now that the game's kind of complete. And again, because there's no trophies or achievement system, it's just whatever. I could be done with it now. I don't know. I got 22 hours in the game, and I'm having a blast. It's great. It's fun. Do I want to be done? Do I want to finish up? I don't know. But my trophy wall looks so sad. I'm now circling back around because last time I think I reported I had platinumed Final Fantasy 16. So I have been chipping away at Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the cleanup there. Got a couple of trophies this month, but really need to get my butt in gear and start getting back into some PlayStation gaming time. My time has been split with a little interest that my son reached into my head, dusted the cobwebs off, and pulled it straight out of my brain, loaded with nostalgia, and that's Pokemon cards. So now my 8-year-old son is super into Pokemon cards. He wants his own decks. He's trying to, get into it and learn how to play with his neighbor friends. He's 8. And so, rising 3rd grader trying to play Pokemon. I was in 6th grade when the game had come out, and I feel like I fully understood the game. I understood the value of the cards. I understood, when you buy a theme deck, that, the deck is together. It's 60 cards, put together by the Pokemon Company, Wizards of the Coast, whatever. They don't make the cards. Wizards doesn't make the cards anymore, but, the Pokemon, whatever mastermind puts together the deck. It's a set. So if you pull a card out of that set, if you don't put something else back in it, the deck's broken. You can't play a game without 60 cards. So things like that, he doesn't really get. And so he's running around, messing, splitting up the deck, trying to trade, but I've told him no trading. He's too young. He doesn't understand the value of cards. He's going to end up trading away a Charizard for an energy, just for the analogy. But him being interested in Pokemon, me sitting down and teaching him how to play, I've played many, many rounds with him, walked him through the process, drawing cards, prize cards, knockouts, attaching energy, flipping coins, how to run the trainer cards, having a blast. Totally got me in. So I went back and I found my binder. I didn't have to look hard. It's right on my bookshelf right next to me. All of my Pokemon cards from my childhood and from my young adult phase. And I realized through some reading on Reddit about the more modern Pokemon card stuff that, the situation I had going on, it's a 3-ring binder with the traditional, 3x3, 9 pocket pages that you can, use to pop in and out. And so because it's a binder, you can just, unclasp the metal, pull out the 9 pocket page and swap them, expand them and such. Way overflowed. It's stuffed to the gills because I had this vision of actually completing a set. And so I'm I'm going to leave blank spaces for all the cards I don't have. And so I have all this extra wasted space. It's an overflowing binder full of all kinds of stuff. I've got some rare cards. I got some good stuff. Nothing crazy. I don't have any of the best stuff out there. But so anyway, I went down a rabbit hole, as I always do. Another fixation, if you will. It was vinyl records back in July or January, and now it's Pokemon cards. But so I'm buying new binders. I'm learning about double sleeving for archival purposes, where you slide the card into a sleeve and then you put the sleeve into the binder. You have better binders without the metal rings on them. And I'm trying to sort them and go through what do I have. Obviously, I'm not going back and collecting full sets anymore, especially some of the older. There's so many expansions now. It's way beyond the scope of my I'm not even trying. That would be hundreds of thousands of dollars probably wasted in trying to put together a set. So I'm not worried about leaving blank spaces for cards I don't have anymore. I just want to consolidate it all and have them stored in the right type of binder. So this one is a zipper shut. It's got side loading. It's got 12 pockets instead of 9, so way more efficient, thinner. And I bought a bunch of binders, more coming in the mail. I'm also learning about the newest set. I followed the Pokemon trading card World Championships just happened, and so I was looking into that and what does the deck consist of? What is the meta for it? How does it work? And I'm getting way ahead of myself. I don't have anyone to play with. No one. There's a couple other dads who are loosely engaged with their children as well, and so I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm even bothering. But I bought the new set. The latest one is Scarlet and Violet. Of course, that's the latest generation of Pokemon. They have 3 expansions. Well, 2 expansions. The base set, 2 expansions. We'll simplify it to that. So I've been buying some booster cards, and I I bought a box that has like the dice you need to play and some of the things. So I'm having a good time. I bought a bigger build and battle stadium thing. I don't even know. It comes with 2 40-card decks and a whole bunch of booster packs from the newest set. And the idea is that, you need a 60-card deck. So you have 20 cards. It gives you the 40 core cards, and then it's up to you to throw in the other 20. And so it comes with two decks like that. So I'm looking to like teach my son how to kind of think about building a deck. What's your ratio of trainers to energies to Pokemon, and how do you do it, right? So that'll come out. I don't know when it comes out. I pre-ordered it. So that's the last, I think, of my Pokemon card talk, but I'm falling all in. And for some reason, that's pulling me away from gaming other than Pikmin 4. So I got to get back to PlayStation. Fall always does it. I always love the all the hype around leading up to the Game Awards. We have Gamescom tomorrow, so I'm excited about new games, new announcements. 2023 continues to press on. Sea of Stars comes out August 29th. Mortal Kombat 1 comes out next month. I'm not going to buy it day one, but I'm definitely excited just for the release to hear and see the reviews. Starfield, of course, will be on my Xbox in just over a week. I can't believe that's here, so I'm messing around with that. And then the biggest game is Spider-Man 2 is coming out October 20th, along with Super Mario Wonder, yet another Nintendo title to pull me away from my PlayStation trophies. So there's a lot going on in the fall, so I'm trying to enjoy the lull while I can. And that is what I'm up to. Those are the things Termite is doing. Never stop the nerddom. Always having fun. So I'm going to start going into some news stories dating back the last 2 weeks. I think I tried to keep them in chronological order. So the oldest one is now, and then we'll get newer, more modern as we catch up. One of the big things that happened a couple weeks ago was Rockstar is bringing Red Dead Redemption to modern platforms. Michael McWhorter and Nicole Carpenter write over at Polygon. Rockstar Games is releasing the original Red Dead Redemption on 2 modern platforms, giving Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4 owners a chance to play the open-world Western adventure natively. Red Dead Redemption will be released on digital Nintendo Switch and PS4 on August 17th, and a physical release is planned for October 13th. The Nintendo eShop and PlayStation Store versions will cost $49.99. Rockstar did not announce pricing for the physical versions. The release will include Undead Nightmare expansion, which brought zombies to the world of Red Dead, and the game's bonus content from the Game of the Year edition. Multiplayer will not be included. The PS4 version of Red Dead Redemption will be playable on PS5 through backwards compatibility. And in case you're wondering about an Xbox version of this port, the original 360 has already been playable on Xbox One since 2016 via backwards compatibility, and that extends to the Xbox Series X. So basically, there's no Xbox version of this release. That's Termite talking. Back to the article. Developer Double 11 is responsible for the PS4 and Switch port. Rockstar said in a news release, the studio's previous work includes console versions of Minecraft Dungeons, Rust, and the Lego Harry Potter games. Rockstar's Western tells a story. I'm not going to read about the story there. I just care about this remaster. So, or not even a remaster. So this is a straight port, y'all. Like, the most disappointing, featureless, cash grab release you can think of. At least that's what I've garnered from what I've read. The discourse online, on Twitter, on Reddit, is that this is just a straight port. It runs, I do believe it runs at 60 frames per second at 4K, and that's it. Like, they didn't really do anything else to the game to make it run or seem better. The fact that there's no native PS5 version is kind of silly. All we get is a PS4 version that's backwards compatible, which I guess keeps it in line with the Switch so that they don't have to do a whole lot. It just seems kind of like this thing is just thrown out there. It's $50. There's no extra features, no multiplayer, and no extras at all. It's just the game ported over to modern consoles. So it should be cheaper, or there should be more. That's what I'm getting at with the gripe here. I think $50 is a lot of money for this, and I think the internet agrees. But there you have it. If you want to play Red Dead Redemption and you don't own a previous gen old hardware, PS3, Xbox 360, then this is your chance to jump in and play it. The game's amazing. And there's a Digital Foundry. They put a little video together, of course, analyzing its code, how it compares to the Xbox 360 version that's auto magically enhanced on the Series X. And apparently the PlayStation 4 version is better by a little bit. So some of the anti-aliasing is better and some of the lighting and stuff, and it's more consistent. So that's cool, I guess, if that's what you're into. Go check that out. Red Dead Redemption on PS4 and Switch. The Switch release is actually the most interesting to me because being able to play a game like that on the go is pretty sweet. I don't know how like Quick Resume behaves because the game is old, and Quick Resume being like, oh, something's come up while I'm on the train. I got to put my Switch to sleep and go to work. And then like hours later over lunch, you fire up your Switch again. Like, how's it going to work? Are things okay? Does it actually like pause correctly? Who knows? So in the next piece of news, Call of Duty's huge. I know the people like that would listen to me or like, I don't know, gamers always like to crap on Call of Duty. It's not really a game. It's this franchise annualized thing. Like the mass console bros love to play. It's toxic. Whatever. It's huge. It makes a ton of money, so I'm going to report on it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 release date and everything we know so far. An article on GameSpot written by S.E. Doster. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 has been officially revealed with an in-game event inside of Warzone, and plenty of details were announced in a blog post by Activision, including zombies mode, changes to perks, beta, details, and more. Modern Warfare 3 releases on November 10th, which is right around the corner. The game will have a standard $70 edition and a pricey Vault edition with a number of extras. Campaign details. The game will have a full campaign that picks up immediately where the story left off in Modern Warfare 2 and as previously teased in the Modern Warfare 3 trailer. The campaign focuses on Vladimir Makarov, who was a main antagonist of the original Modern Warfare franchise. So Activision describes this campaign as having more player choice than ever before, with operations ranging from signature cinematic experiences to open or freeform open combat missions. Open combat missions give players numerous additional choices regarding their methods for completing missions. For example, choosing stealth techniques and equipment for a sneaky approach, or choosing explosive equipment and extra armor to go into a mission with guns blazing. Players will have more open areas to complete missions with various tactics, and any vehicles in the area can be used for more player choice. So it sounds to me like they're setting a single-player campaign inside of the Warzone map, where you can kind of go anywhere you want, pick up different guns, like do different things, run around. That's kind of neat. I mean, the campaigns have been the one draw for Call of Duty for me that has stayed since my 360 days playing Modern Warfare 2 and 3 online all the time. I love the campaigns. I'm still working my way through Black Ops 1 on my PlayStation 3 Frankie. So as the new ones come out, I kind of take note of them, and eventually I'll circle back around and get to them. Call of Duty Cold War came out on PlayStation 5 close to its launch, if not on release day, and that is now on PlayStation Plus, one of the tiers. So like I want to go back and do that story because that seems fun. So the fact that this has a campaign makes me interested mildly. There's a whole bunch of more information about multiplayer, perks, zombies. One thing to note is Modern Warfare 2 weapons and cosmetics will carry over. For the first time in Call of Duty history, your weapons, operators, camos, and more will transfer over to the new game. There will be a few restrictions in place, but that's all broken down if you want to find the article and click on it. Activision announced that Call of Duty will have one unified hub for games moving forward called the Call of Duty HQ. Players will be able to use the hub to access Modern Warfare 2, Warzone, Modern Warfare 3, and future Call of Duty content all in one place. So there you go. If that does it for you, go check it out. Big announcement there. I think there was a write-up from Jason Schreier at Bloomberg about the open world campaign, open area, open zone campaign, how different that is. Something else pretty big happened while I was on hiatus, vacation, and away. There was a big Pokemon Direct, speaking of Pokemon cards, and there is... this is not the right article at all. What was the Pokemon Direct recap? Let's see. It was in August. So now I have to find an article that shows me everything announced in the August 2023 Pokemon Direct. Did I report on this before? I don't remember. I don't know, folks. I'm losing my mind. It makes me want to go back and look at 80bitpodsmash.com. That's our landing website with links to all of our shows, and see the show notes and see if I said it was announced, so I have not actually reported on it 2 episodes ago. Cool. All right, so Pokemon World Championships was the first thing. I think, I don't know what order this is in, but it was at the Pokemon Direct. All the stuff that was announced. Pokemon World Championships was set to go underway. They happened. It's all done. But there was a special look at its gear that you get. Trainer cruise ship that will be parked outside. There's a Paradise Resort. I don't know. A new show called Pokemon Path to the Peak. It's an animated web series all about the Pokemon trading card game. The showcase revealed a sneak peek at the series that came out August 11th. The next thing they showed was Detective Pikachu Returns. We got a really long, big new trailer, story details, gameplay. Looks fun if you're into Detective Pikachu. I am not, but go check that out. Pokemon Horizons is yet another animated show. It's the first animated show since Ash Ketchum and Pikachu's departure. We still don't know when this one is getting its Western release date, but Ash's final episodes will be kicking off on September 8th, 2023 in North America. So new anime. An update to Pokemon Go Fest. Pokemon Go Fest Global will run from the 26th to the 27th, allowing everyone to take part in the festivities, even if you were not able to attend one of the 3 events in person. You'll see Diancie make its Pokemon Go debut with the ability to evolve into Mega Diancie. Mega Rayquaza will also begin appearing in raids on the 27th. Both encounters will only be possible if you have purchased a ticket for the event. So a way to make money in Pokemon Go, not for you, but for Pokemon. An update to Pokemon Unite. A new game mode is headed there called Panic Parade. You will have to work with your teammates to protect a select Pokemon from oncoming enemies. Plus, Mewtwo License X is now in the game. During battle, this Pokemon can evolve into Mega Mewtwo X and use attacks in close succession. There was an update to Pokemon Masters EX. Scarlet and Violet's Nemona and Pawmot are heading to Pokemon Masters EX. The two form a sync pair with a new sprint roll, allowing them to attack quickly. From the 9th through the 28th of August, a special in-game event will take place to celebrate Nemona's arrival in the game, and you'll be able to battle the trainer every day to earn gems. Yikes. From August 16th, Victor and Spectre will appear in Masters EX2 as the new field roll sync pair. Okay, if you're into Pokemon Masters EX, cool. Pokemon Cafe Remix. That's that free-to-play cell phone match 3 game. Tatsugiri is coming to Pokemon Cafe Remix. You can serve some of your best dishes up to them, compete in the event, and choose one of the Tatsugiri to join your staff. Something I actually cared about was the first. This is it right here. This is the first thing I cared about a lot. Pokemon Trading Card Game and Pokemon Stadium 2 are added to the Nintendo Switch Online. We knew that was happening. That was announced when, I don't remember, one of the Nintendo Directs months ago. We already knew it was coming, but we finally got a release date, and it was today, which was freaking awesome. So Pokemon Trading Card Game has come to Game Boy Color on Nintendo Switch Online. Pokemon Stadium 2 has come to the N64 library. That is an amazing Game Boy Color game. Absolute nostalgia, crazy. Maybe this fed the context of me getting excited that my son was getting into cards as all of this was taking place, because I'm now playing the Game Boy Color game. I forgot to mention that. Am I now playing? I'm not like super into it, but I have dabbled, and it's ridiculously nostalgic. The music is amazing. I'm surprised there's no like lo-fi beats album for it yet. I wish there would be. Cannot freaking wait. Also, a note about the Pokemon Stadium 2 game. I said can't wait. I'm already playing it. I'm not waiting. I just want to play more of it, I guess is what I'm excited about. Pokemon Stadium 2, apparently really, really hard if you cannot transfer Pokemon from your Gold and Silver games like you could in the original with the transfer pack. They don't have a way to do that with the Switch Online. Like, there's no connection to any old Pokemon games, so you just have to use the vanilla Pokemon you can rent in the game, and apparently it's really difficult. So there's a lot of online discourse about that. Next up in the announcements here, Pokemon Sleep. A Good Sleep Day event is coming for the night of the full moon. Another web series anime, I guess, Pokemon Paldean Winds, is an original web series set in the Scarlet and Violet region of Paldea. Will stream on the official Pokemon YouTube channel on the 6th of September. So these web series, like Path to the Peak, came out, and I went to go find it, and I thought they were on Netflix, but they're not. They're links to the YouTube channel. So they're like YouTube shows. It's weird to me. They're not on like a streaming platform. You have to go through YouTube, and it kind of stinks from my situation because the kids don't have a YouTube Kids like way. They have kids profiles in some of the other streaming apps, but we've kind of steered away from YouTube for obvious reasons. And so it's like I can't just go tell them to like go watch the new Pokemon show because I have to like go manage them. So I have to go sit and fire up the YouTube app and like sit and watch because YouTube gets crazy with the algorithms and what they automatically feed to kids. I don't trust any of that stuff. So who knows what kind of, and they start clicking on the links to the things and like, I don't mess with that. So I'm really, really into controlling YouTube for them. Don't mind them watching YouTube content, just I have to control it, and it requires more overhead. But I was just surprised that these miniseries are locked away on YouTube. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, big update to all the DLC stuff, but there's an event, the Mewtwo Terra Raid Battle, a special 7-star Terra Raid Battle event is coming to Scarlet and Violet from the 1st through the 17th of September. Starring Mewtwo, legendary Pokemon will hold the mightiest mark and can be caught on defeat. You can also get a Mew between now until the 18th of September. So if you're into Scarlet and Violet and you want a Mew, now's your chance to get one. I did mine. There's a code online, and get your Mew, all in one word, and the O is a 0, and you can't mess that up because the keyboard has no 0. So go get that. There was updates for the Hidden Treasure of Area 0 DLC. The first section of that, the first part, is called the Teal Mask. So the Hidden Treasure of Area 0 is a 2-part DLC. The first part, called The Teal Mask, is coming out on the 13th of September, and the second part is coming out in the winter of 2023. And that is the presentation. That was the Pokemon Presents. So other than the Nintendo Switch Online editions and a little bit more info about the DLC for Scarlet and Violet, very, very lackluster, very boring, long, so many avenues of Pokemon content that expand mostly across the shows. There's lots of shows. There's 3 different TV shows, 2 web series, and a Netflix show. And I don't know how many mobile apps between Pokemon Cafe, Pokemon Sleep, Pokemon Unite, and Pokemon Masters. That's like 4 mobile games that are all happening. Pokemon Go, that's 5. Updates to all of them. It's every time there's a Pokemon Direct, it's like, I don't even care. And that's not even including a card game update. So, yeah, nuts. So lots of disappointment from the like enthusiast gaming crowd with that Pokemon Direct. But I imagine there's something for everyone somewhere. I mean, like, the video games piqued my interest. So next up on my list, Sony is now streaming PS5 games at 4K over the internet in public beta. So 4K could be a big deal, not just because of graphics, but clarity. Sean Hollister writes over at The Verge, Sony said it was coming, and now it's here. Sony is now confirming it's launched a public beta test of PS5 cloud gaming, one that streams games to a PS5 at up to 4K resolution, according to gamers who are now receiving invitations. We didn't previously know Sony would be streaming at 4K, and that could be a big deal no matter what that 4K actually means. While Sony spokesperson Mary Tang says the company doesn't have additional details to share, several users at popular gaming forum Reset Era say they've made it in and are sharing some early impressions. Original poster Arashi Games says you can choose between 720, 1080, 1440, and 2160, which is 4K, with games automatically loading your cloud saves so you can pick up and play. While cloud saves may seem like table stakes, that hasn't always been the case. Early versions of Sony's PlayStation Now cloud gaming service understandably had no initial way to import save games from your PS3, for instance. While it's not clear whether the 4K max resolution refers to the render resolution, which is the gaming graphics, or the streaming resolution, the actual size that the image is beamed to your TV, either would help because of how cloud games are streamed. Images have to be compressed quite small to get rapidly fired across the internet 60 times a second, and that compression can often manifest as an ugly haze over what otherwise a perfectly playable game. Streaming at 4K helps fix that, even if you don't have a 4K screen. Available games include God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, Fortnite, Fall Guys, Destiny 2, Returnal, Demon's Souls, Death Stranding, Sackboy, Big Adventure, Destruction All-Stars, and Fall Guys, with trials available for Resident Evil Village and Demon Slayer as well. In June, when Sony first said it planned to test PS5 game streaming, the company suggested that the test would include PS5 titles from the PlayStation Plus game catalog and game trials, as well as supported digital PS5 titles that players own. Sony also wrote, we can't wait to share more details when we're ready, including a launch time frame. Today, Sony says what we're seeing is part of the test that the company already announced in June. That was a lot. But the takeaway here is that Microsoft has had some games on Game Pass available to be streamed, so you don't have to install them. And so it's this whole like Netflix service of games and like being a smorgasbord buffet of titles that you can just try out with little stakes, even furthered by just being able to press a button and start playing the game immediately. PlayStation didn't do that. It hasn't had that. So this is like, to me, the second step towards the PlayStation Plus subscription becoming more in parity with Game Pass, because now they're doing the cloud streaming as well. And so being able to stream PlayStation Plus titles, you're already getting them for free, but like have immediate access to them to kind of circumvent that whole download barrier. Because I was installing Resident Evil 4, and my wife's like, we're not playing game, like, we're talking, like, why would you put this in right now? And I was like, I put this game in because I'm not playing it tonight. I have to let it install, and it's going to take an hour to download all the patches and install the game. So I'm doing this ahead of time. I'm putting Resident Evil 4 in now so I can play it later. Now, I haven't played it since. That was like 2 days ago. But the point is, with physical games or even downloading games digitally, you have to plan ahead because that's super long download time. Well, with the streaming option coming mainstream, you wouldn't have to do that right away. You could start the download. You could then pause it, play the game immediately over cloud. When you're done, hit the download button, and then eventually you'll get the native version of it. And that's if this whole streaming thing takes off more than it already is. Right now, it seems it's in beta. It's tied to your PlayStation Plus account, so there's a little bit of barriers there to like get there. It's not full blown streaming, but I mean, this is the direction we're headed, right? Maybe the PlayStation 6, like you put the disc in, and it's like, do you want to stream the game while it installs? You can start right now. You know, as the internet infrastructure increases, the console like processing power goes up. And that kind of stuff. In-home Wi-Fi and in-home download speeds are getting faster and faster as new ISPs are not. The ISPs aren't new, but the ISPs are standing up newer, faster speeds and like getting newer, faster devices, Wi-Fi 6, etc. inside the house. So yeah, it's just like the step in the direction. Sorry, I went on like a a rant, if you will, about a possible hypothetical future where there's lots more of this, but it's the direction we're headed, right? I mean, even Nintendo's doing the streaming with the Switch. It's awful, but you can play Kingdom Hearts 3, you can play like Resident Evil Village on the Nintendo Switch with streaming. There's all the things to overcome, input lag, the differences in everybody's home internet, like how reliable is the quality, et cetera, et cetera. Like the compression ruins the visual quality of the screen. So maybe this hybrid approach will be the first step, which it will be, and it is. So next thing, speaking of Sony and PlayStation, Sony hints at PlayStation first-party game delays and latest financial report. Sony Interactive, and this is PSU.com, Michael Herodence, he wrote it. Sony has hinted in its latest financial report that a number of first-party PlayStation games lined up for the latter half of fiscal year 23 have been delayed. A section of the console maker's Q1 earnings report features forecasts for the remainder of the fiscal year that ended in March 21st in 2024. Side note, when it says the latter half of fiscal year 23, remember that fiscal year ends March 31 of 2024. So the latter half is actually September to March. So it's like the fall / early winter, maybe early spring. So among which includes a negative bullet point for impact of changes in the launch dates of a portion of first-party titles. Positives include decreased spending in the increased sales of DLC and third-party games. As such, this suggests that some first-party games were delayed beyond their original dates. Although Sony doesn't specifically name-drop any titles, possible candidates include The Last of Us multiplayer project, which has been keeping a low profile as of late, but that's just speculation. Speaking of first-party games, we at least know that Marvel's Spider-Man 2 has a solid release date of October 20th. Hopefully, Sony has a few surprises for the rest of the year, but we won't know for sure until it hosts its next PlayStation showcase. So you have that. More delays. What's going on? Quality. The whole Cyberpunk 2077 debacle really helped increase the quality of video games being released. I think the worst quality games this year, I remember from Star Wars Jedi Survivor was kind of buggy in its performance mode, and I believe Final Fantasy XVI's performance mode didn't quite hit the mark for 60 FPS. But other than that, I mean, nothing anywhere close to as abysmal as Cyberpunk 2077 and Pokemon Scarlet Violet for that too. There was some other big things happening in the games industry. THQ Nordic had a digital showcase. And with that, Brian Shea writes over at GameInformer.com, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin officially revealed through a teaser trailer. Earlier this year, Paramount teased that a video game based on the popular Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles graphic novel, The Last Ronin, was in development. We haven't heard much since then. Now there's the THQ Digital Nordic Showcase gave us a trailer. Unfortunately, we did not get any looks at gameplay or additional information. According to the senior vice president for games and emerging media at Paramount Global in his interview with Polygon back in March, The Last Ronin will be a single-player action RPG similar to modern God of War series. The title will feature a mature tone, which should be exciting for fans of the comic series, but Rosen made it clear back in March that the game was years away from release. So I got excited to watch the trailer. Go watch the teaser. I'm not going to spoil anything about The Last Ronin. It's a fantastic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic series. I believe there are 5 issues. There's a hardcover book that has all of them together in one book. Go read it. It's amazing. And a single-player, God of War style, dark and gritty Ninja Turtles game sounds absolutely amazing. Sign me up. I'm in. Let's go. I can't wait. And with that teaser trailer was also a new South Park game. It was also announced. A co-op game will release for consoles and PC in 2024. So this comes by way of VGC.com, Video Games Chronicle, and the editor, the writer, Andy Robinson. Announced during live stream event, Snow Day, that's the South Park game, is described as a 3D co-op adventure on the snow-piled streets of South Park. The game will release in 2024 for PC, PS5, Series XS, and Nintendo Switch. An all-new South Park game is coming in 3D. Join Cartman, Stan, Kyle, Kenny, and in three-dimensional glory to celebrate the most magical day in any young child's life, a snow day. Grab up to 3 friends and battle your way through snow-piled streets of South Park on a quest to save the world and enjoy a day without school. According to the reveal trailer, the game is developed by Question Games. The California-based studio previously worked on its first-person titles, The Magic Circle and The Blackout Club. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone confirmed in 2021 that they were working on a new 3D game. The previous 2 South Park video games, The Stick of Truth and The Fractured But Whole, were developed in collaboration with Ubisoft. The latter was created by the Outer Worlds developer Obsidian. The 2 games were well received and have Metacritic scores of 85 and 84. And Stick of Truth was actually due to be published by the original THQ before it went bankrupt, and the project was picked up by Ubisoft. So I guess apparently THQ got the rights to South Park, and that's how we knew about that, because of this. I'm sure there was probably like this sub-bullet somewhere like years ago that was like, oh, THQ Nordic, when it was sucking up a bunch of studios, grabbed the license for South Park. So it's interesting. There is a trailer, and it does, like, I was not super impressed with it when I saw it, because the gameplay like made it look like sort of a top-down Diablo-esque dungeon crawling type game. But you don't really know from the teaser trailer like exactly what it'll be. It just says co-op, multiplayer, 3D. So if it's anything like the first 2 games that were mentioned earlier, Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole, they were awesome, absolutely amazing games, hilarious. So I'm a little excited about this. We'll see what happens as we get closer to release. The showcase, the trailer, like really didn't do it. It was not a good showing. It seemed kind of buggy and early, like the way the character models looked, the lighting and like the effects and stuff just didn't seem polished enough. So I don't know if it's too early or what. Next story. Xbox has a new striking system called, well, I'll read from Dave McCarthy, which is the corporate vice president of Xbox Player Services, right from the news.xbox.com. Xbox introduces an enforcement strike system. Xbox's new enforcement strike system educates players about enforcement severity, cumulative effect of multiple enforcements, and total impact on their standing. Players can receive a total of 8 strikes. Each strike remains on the record for 6 months. Each strike results in a suspension from Xbox's social features for varying lengths of time. Every player will begin with a blank slate or 0 strikes. Previous enforcements must still be completed. We are currently improving our safety measures and bringing more systems and tools in place that empower players to respectfully interact with one another, because everyone deserves a place to comfortably be themselves online, free from harassment and bullying. One of the most common questions we get from players through feedback posts and appeals is how repeated enforcements impact their gameplay, how they escalate, what they escalate to, and how they know when their account is back in good standing. To help address this, we are introducing a new enforcement strike system. The new system attaches strikes to every enforcement, ranging in severity based on inappropriate activity. Each player will now have a view of their enforcement history, including strikes and the overall impact these have on their player record. This revised system gives players a better understanding of enforcement severity and the cumulative effect of multiple enforcements. Enforcement transparency is about giving players clarity into how their behavior impacts their experience. Our content moderation efforts are not changing as a result of the new enforcement strike system. As always, when a player believes they have witnessed a violation of the community standards, we encourage them to report. All reports are evaluated. There are no automated enforcement actions based solely on the fact that a report was made. No volume of inaccurate reports result in an enforcement. Only reports that have been reviewed by the Xbox safety team and determined to accurate result in an enforcement. So there you go. That was my biggest thing. I was going to read this whole... I don't need to read anymore. That's good. So there's a whole, I guess, platform tool available for players to use if you are acting like a fool online and people will strike you down for it, report you. That report is not automated. There's no AI going on there, well, that we know of. And it looks like a full team of people will investigate your report, and whoever, determines that it's real, they'll get a strike. And based on the severity of the thing is how, what the punishment is, how long you're banned for. But if you are on the receiving end of an enforcement strike, it seems like it's pretty easy and transparent to understand where you are and your standing with your 8 strikes and your bans. Be good to one another, love one another. Everyone has a place to game. No one is worse off than anybody else. Don't judge someone based on the sound of their voice or their lifestyle choice. Be nice, love everyone, play games together, enjoy each other's company online. And hopefully you will stay out of the whole strike thing. This article goes on to show like a graphic. It's like really in depth. All the strikes, the dates, all the things, details. So that's pretty good. I hope that Microsoft here doing this forces like a new standard, a new way of thinking about how game companies should be looking at the management or the moderation of their online spaces, because I'm sick and death and tired of hearing about internet toxicity. I'm sick to death and tired of hearing about people who don't play games only citing the toxicity and thinking that gamers are like that. And I'm sick and tired of being lumped into that as someone who doesn't even play multiplayer games because it's so bad out there. I don't even try. I only play with my friends, people I know in real life. I don't do random pickups with people because it's just awful. You hear the worst stuff out there. Everyone thinks they can lobby and insult from behind a keyboard or a controller, and there's no ramifications for your actions. Every single time I hear anything at all remotely offensive, I report it constantly on everyone online. I'm one of those kids. I won't say anything. I'm not going to cause a fight and disrupt the stuff, but if you're out there acting a fool, you're getting reported. So good for Microsoft in doing that. I hope we can make a new culture and a new way of interacting with one another, and making it fair and easy for new people and different people to work together and play games together. That'd be awesome. Alan Wake 2 hit with a 10-day delay. This is Marcus Stewart over at Game Informer. Alan Wake 2 has been a long time coming, but fans will have to wait a little bit longer as the game has been pushed from October 17th to October 27th. In a press release, developer Remedy Entertainment doesn't cite a technical reason for this delay, only writing that October is an amazing month for game launches, and we hope this date shift gives more space for everyone to enjoy their favorite games. This likely refers to the fact that Alan Wake 2 was originally going to release just 3 days before the arrival of heavy hitters Spider-Man 2 and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which both launch on October 20th. The new date now puts it a full week outside of a blast radius, providing some breathing room for players looking to enjoy some or all of those titles around launch. So there you have that. I don't know if I can recall in any sort of recent gaming history that a company delays a game for that reason and says it. Usually, you can read the tea leaves and you can say, oh, I see what they did. And they'll just be like, due to unplanned circumstances, we need more time to get the game right, or we need more time to get the game in the right state, blah, 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 yada, 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 whatever the excuse the company will come up with. But good for Remedy for just straight up coming out and be like, you know what? October's crazy for game launches. We're just going to move our game out of the window of these 2 big heavy hitters. And now they didn't cite the 2 games specifically, which makes sense because you don't want to shine attention on the competition. You want to stand out. You want to create a window for yourself. And so, but it's cool. October is an amazing month for game launches, and we hope this date shift gives more space for everyone to enjoy their favorite games. So, not even a dig. Not even this is great. Let's celebrate games. There's lots of stuff going on. We're all happy gamers. I like it. I like the vibe here. I like the attitude. Good for them. Transparency. Hopefully it does work out because Control was amazing. The Alan Wake universe, I think, is something special, and I think there's something here, and I really, really am rooting for Alan Wake 2 to do well. It showcased awesome. It looked just like Last of Us with the game Control with all the weird, crazy sci-fi, who knows what the crap's going on vibes. Oh, it's great. So I really am rooting for it. Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 store will close July 2024. And this is another XboxNews.com website post from Dave McCarthy, same guy we just quoted. This November will mark 18 years since the 360 launched. It was a generation-defining console that invited many to jump into gaming for the first time and connect with friends around the world. Over the years, we've heard stories of players who found a lifelong love of games, starting with the likes of Cameo, Gears of War, Fable 2, and other Xbox 360 classics. We're thrilled so many fans keep playing their favorite 360 games on Xbox 360 or on newer consoles via backward compatibility. As we head towards 2024, we have a change to share about the 360 experience. On July 29th, 2024, that's my 38th birthday, Xbox will stop supporting the ability to purchase new games, DLC, and other entertainment content from the 360 store on the console and on the 360 marketplace. Related to this change, the Microsoft Movies and TV app will no longer function on the 360, which means TV and movie content will no longer be viewable on your Xbox 360 after July 29th, 2024. Between now and July 2024, you can continue purchasing games and DLC from the 360 store and the 360 marketplace. This change will not affect your ability to play Xbox 360 games or DLC you have already purchased. The Xbox 360 game content previously purchased will still be available to play not only the Xbox 360 console, but also Xbox One and Xbox Series XS devices via backward compatibility. A lot has changed since the Xbox 360 launched in 2005. Technology has evolved, expectations from players have shifted, and we are focusing on making Xbox Series XS games the best place to play now and in the future. What has not changed is our commitment to preserving your ability to play the content you have already purchased on your preferred device, which means we are committed to supporting Xbox 360 gameplay for the foreseeable future, and you will still be able to play and re-download previously purchased content and connect with friends. We hope to get ahead of some of your questions below. So what I want to know is, of all the questions posted here, is about multiplayer games. So the question, what about multiplayer games via Xbox Network? Can I still play with my friends? Yes. Even after July 2024, you will still be able to play games and connect with friends through multiplayer on games you purchased as long as the publisher still supports the online servers. You can still save your games and progress to the cloud, and if you choose to continue any of those available games on Xbox One or Series X, those cloud saves will transfer over. So that's good to know. If Microsoft's in control, they'll be up. Otherwise, if it's a third-party situation, it's based on their servers. And we know a couple of things related to this a little bit tangentially were the old retro Call of Duty games that suddenly the online servers went live and they were fully playable, and the player count spiked like crazy. It made headlines. We talked about it here. So that's cool that Microsoft is still committed to at least support the ongoing online infrastructure as far as playing games, online services, etc. But this is no surprise. Sony shut down the PlayStation 3 and Vita credit card ability to purchase stores. Nintendo infamously shut down the 3DS and Wii U stores, and that's so shut down that no, you can't play online with each other except for Splatoon and Mario Kart 8, which got turned back on. But you can't even patch games, and that was kind of a big deal with Xenoblade Chronicles X, for example, which is stuck on the Wii U, and if you have the disc and you haven't updated it or installed it, you can't get the patches. So you're stuck with whatever's on the disc because the eShop on that console is shut down, and that's how you downloaded patches, was for that. If I would have known that, I would have gone through my entire library and updated everything on my console before it shut down. But it's too late, so I don't know what I have installed and what I don't. I know I've played most everything I've got, so I think I've downloaded some updates to some things. It's ridiculous. Going back to the conversation about video game preservation, there are so many games on the Xbox 360 digital storefront that were never released on disc, and there's no way to get them. Once they're gone, that's it. It's like PT on PlayStation 4. It's gone. If you don't have it installed already, you'll never be able to get it again. And I like that they're supporting, if you've already purchased it, you can still have access to getting it again, downloading it again and playing it. That's cool and all, but Turtles in Time Reshelled will be gone forever unless you already own it, and that's sad. I wish there was a way to continue to preserve old titles in such a way that people could play them legally, and not have to result in emulation and piracy and all the craziness that goes on, jailbreaking consoles, etc., etc. I don't know. This bums me out. It's sad to hear because you're in the moment when you're during the 360, the storefronts were live, the content was new and fresh. You're like, this stuff's never going anywhere. I'm going to be able to tie this to my account forever. I'm safe. And in some regards, that's true. I mean, the stuff you have bought, they're not taking anything away from you. But it's just like, why not keep it alive? Like, why? They're doing it. Smarter minds than me have ran the market metrics, and they're looking at the cost to run these servers, the cost to run this entire situation. If you have a storefront, you got to have a customer support team. You got to have content refreshes, updates, promotions. It's got to run. It's got to be alive. And I get it. All the overhead, all of the space, all of the hardware, the servers, the financial routes, the website domains, all of the stuff that like goes with a storefront. And some of that stuff they're keeping, obviously, in order to preserve the fact that you own them and be able to download them again. But they've done the math. They know they're not making any money on this stuff anymore, trying to move people into the new thing. It just bums me out. And finally, we reached the last piece of gaming news, skirting this episode in right under an hour. Sega finalizes the purchase of Rovio, in case you haven't heard. This article is from gamesindustry.biz by Jeffrey Rousseau. Sega has completed its purchase of Angry Birds creator Rovio Entertainment. The gaming firm announced the acquisition's finalization on social media. We're so thrilled to celebrate Rovio becoming a member of the Sega Group. Get ready for exciting adventures ahead, said Sega. In April, Sonic Maker set to acquire Rovio for $768 million. The decision was attributed to the Japanese games company intending to accelerate its IP in the mobile space with Rovio's expertise. At the time, Hiroki Satomi, president and group CEO of Sega Sammy, said, among the rapidly growing global gaming market, the mobile gaming market has especially high potential, and it has been Sega's long-term goal to accelerate its expansion in this field. So there you go. Angry Birds is now going to be Sega. So Sonic Angry Birds incoming, I guess. I don't know. Cool move by a non-hardware manufacturer, which is kind of interesting, as Sega just does software. So the fact that they're coming together, it really is a mobile game push, just like Blizzard had King, and Microsoft is trying to get Activision Blizzard King. King made Candy Crush, so like that avenue, having companies that have been successful in the mobile space, there's not a lot of them, are huge to have in your portfolio for a successful business. So expanding Sega's prowess into the mobile space more than just like Sonic Run or whatever Super Monkey Ball is happening on the mobile spaces could be good for people who like cell phone games. And it's okay. So I'm not one of those super cell phone game-y people. But if you are, then get excited. You have some new stuff to play, hopefully, in the future. I'm exhausted. This has been a long news read reel. I hope to have provided some sort of insights or left you with some little crumbs of things to think about. Thank you for hanging out with me again. My name is Termite. I am your host of Termite's Buzz, a weekly video game podcast, which you can find over at 80bitpodsmash.com, 80bitpodsmash.com, where there are links to all of our audio platforms, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts, etc. Please give me your thoughts, comments, questions, concerns, and ideas over on our social media platforms, which you can find the same website, 80bitpodsmash.com. There's a link tree to Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Reddit. We're everywhere. There's a Discord server you can talk to us in, and sometimes we go live on Twitch, so you can go to twitch.tv/80bitpodsmash. I've been jonesing to do some live streams. Maybe when it starts to get a little mellowed out from the summer, I'll have a little time window to stream in the evenings as it gets dark so early. So we'll see after school starts for the kiddos. With that, I'll leave you to it, and you guys have a good week.